Good morning. I'm Charles Osgood, and this is Sunday Morning. With no end in sight to the war on terrorism, many American Muslims feel they're living under a cloud of suspicion. There are people who think that the heightened security is understandable and proper. In our Sunday morning cover story, Sharon Alfonsi will examine what it's like now to be a Muslim in America. Then it's on to the journalism called Dishing, reporting on the lives and doings of the famous and celebrated. This morning, Dan Rather will visit the leading practitioner of the art.
News, send gossip, send items.
Have you heard?
Bye-bye.
Liz Smith has been gossiping so long that today she's almost as famous as the celebrities she writes about.
You know, I've known most of these people either well or slightly, and I think they're all pretty terrific.
Later on Sunday Morning, we'll give you the lowdown on Liz Smith.
I was introduced to Sean Penn by a very famous Hollywood agent.
With a lowdown on haute cuisine in a rather extreme form, we sent Martha Teichner to a restaurant that quite literally features everything from soup to, well, everything.
And what's this?
Deviled kidneys.
Deviled kidneys. What makes them deviled?
Well, they have a slight devilish nature to them. That's what I have on my birthday every breakfast.
If this is your favorite birthday meal, you'll be thrilled to learn what else Fergus Henderson has on the menu of his London restaurant.
We're going to braise some spleen.
You heard right. Spleen. Later this Sunday morning, a story so deliciously awful, you'll have to watch.
The winning ways of singer-songwriter Steve Winwood are part of rock and roll history. Winwood is still shaping the landscape, both musical and otherwise, as Mark Phillips will show us.
In his 40-year career, Steve Winwood has written countless classic rock songs and made it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But there's a side of him that might surprise you.
It was kind of, you know, almost like coming home.
A rock legend who really does lead the high life, later on Sunday Morning.
Why would you spell hockey with an H2O? Bill Geist will explain why.
Hardly anybody's ever heard of it, fewer still have seen it, and most people don't even believe it exists. Underwater hockey. It's going on down there someplace, and we'll do everything we can to bring you the action, believe me, later on Sunday Morning.
David Edelstein reviews the new movie V for Vendetta. Nancy Giles puzzles over this year's Oscar-winning song and more. But first, the headlines for this Sunday morning, the 12th of March, 2006. An autopsy is being performed today on the body of Slobodan Milosevic. The former leader of Yugoslavia was found dead in his cell yesterday at a UN prison in The Hague in the Netherlands. He was on trial for war crimes during the Balkan conflict. Milosevic was 64. Just ahead of those autopsy results, Milosevic's lawyer today charged that the former Yugoslav leader had written a letter claiming that he was afraid he was being poisoned. Iraqi police say kidnapped American aid worker Tom Fox was tortured before he was shot in the head and chest and his body dumped in Baghdad. No word on the fate of his fellow captives, one from Britain and two from Canada. Nor is there any further word on abducted American journalist Jill Carroll, who was kidnapped on January 7th. There'll be more tests on a possible case of mad cow disease in the United States. The Department of Agriculture says this particular cow did not enter the human or animal food chain. Snow and sleet are blamed for a 28-vehicle pileup on Highway 101 just north of San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge yesterday. 2 people died in the chain collision. Now, today's weather: thunderstorms across the Midwest, snow likely in the western high plains and central Rockies, more rain in store for California. The week ahead should remain stormy in the west, but Arizona, which saw record rains yesterday, will be dry. The East Coast will be stormy early in the week, but dry and colder at week's end. Next, being Muslim in America. And then,
What do we want? What do we want?
a boycott birthday.
Good things come to those who walk. In the Avon Walk for Breast Cancer, Every 3 minutes, another woman in the U.S. is diagnosed with breast cancer. For 2 days and 39 miles, you can help change that statistic forever. Because of you, more women and men will get access to the care they require, and researchers will be able to pursue their quest for a cure. So walk. Don't wait. Call 1-800-510-WALK or visit avonwalk.org today.
Morph the Cat, the incredible new album from the incomparable Donald Fagen, featuring H-Gang. Morph the Cat, from the co-leader of Steely Dan, Donald Fagen, in stores March 14th.
Enter the Verizon Wireless Text to Win sweepstakes. Win a Verizon Wireless VCast phone to watch clips from your favorite CBS shows. Play the bonus round for a chance to win a trip to Vegas, New York, or Miami. To enter, text CSI to 91234 or visit WCBSTV.com.
Hi, Steve Perillo for Perillo Tours. Now's the time for you to experience the majesty of Italy, from the Alps to Sicily. With Perillo, you travel in style, including first-class hotels and fine Italian dining. See all the sights with no lines and no hassles. And new this year, our romantic Tuscany tour. Explore the magical hill towns of this breathtaking region. For your free Perillo brochure and my new DVD, visit PerilloTours.com or call 1-800-255-5000 now.
It's the time of the season when love runs high. In this time,
moving your 401ks to Fidelity is groovy. Our retirement specialists make it so easy, they'll even do most of the paperwork. You dig? Call 1-800-FIDELITY. Smart move.
It's an entirely different class of Mercedes-Benz, the R-Class Grand Sports Tourer. More headroom for you, more elbow room for her, more space for him, more luxury, more comfort for them, and them, and them. The R-Class, more of everything to make more people happy. What more could you want? See your local authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for a special lease offer through Mercedes-Benz Financial. Value unlike any other. Visit your local authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer today.
From the sentencing trial of confessed terrorist conspirator Zacarias Moussaoui to public backlash against the Dubai ports deal, it is obvious that these are difficult times to be a Muslim in America. In weighing rights versus security, there are no easy answers. Our cover story is reported by Sharon Alfonsi.
I'm perfectly aware that most of you have never seen someone who looks like me smile before.
What would you think if you saw this guy sitting next to you on an airplane?
People are in shock. I'm gonna die.
Meet Muslim comedian Azhar Usman.
Honey, I love you. People looking at me like I was responsible for 9/11. Me? 9/11? 7/11 maybe.
He and fellow comedian Preacher Moss are part of what they call the Allah Made Me Funny official Muslim comedy tour.
I like to say racism affects black people and people in general from the big...
We caught up with them at Rochelle Township High School in rural Illinois.
I'm not only African American, I'm West Indian, I'm also a Muslim. You know what that means? That means when the police pull me over, I get 2 tickets.
If comedy comes from tragedy and a little time, 4 years after September 11th, they're hoping their time has come. There are at least 6 million Muslims in America. And if you didn't know that, these two joke that it's because many of them are in hiding.
Preach likes to say something in his act, which is, Muslims, you got to get over this 9/11-itis. If you didn't do anything, act like you didn't do anything. And I think that's really, really instructive. I think that part of the problem has been Muslims feeling psychologically burdened by, the sins of another. We don't believe in that. Those guys are wackos. They're crazy. They're murderers. They're barbarians. They have nothing to do with me. I have nothing to do with them. Oh, sure, of course.
That's what Summer Al-Jabari, a junior at Rochelle High, has been telling her classmates for years.
When I came here, they used to tell me that, what's his name, Osama bin Laden, do I know him and whatever.
Imagine what it must be like, wearing a headscarf when everyone else is in Abercrombie & Fitch. At first, she says she was taunted.
Someone threw food at you? Yeah, in middle school. In my lunch hour, they threw food at me, tomatoes and their spoons, and telling me to go back to my country.
But over time, she says, the taunting has turned to curiosity. Classmates want to know about her life, what she believes in, what she can and can't do. Stuff that at 16 years old, she's just trying to figure out herself.
Or there's things you can't do and maybe you have to explain to people. Oh, maybe playing volleyball, because I'm not supposed to wear shorts. It's kind of hard to explain to people too how it is, so I get very tired explaining. But at the same time, I really like it because I feel like I'm telling people something about me that they would understand me more and respect me about what I'm doing. Mama had that orange juice with that? Yes.
Summer's struggle isn't unique. Like millions of others, she's trying to figure out what being Muslim American means. And trying not to be defined by September 11th or stereotypes.
Bin Laden talks about upcoming strikes on the U.S.
But every day, American Muslims are up against a constant stream of images like these.
Or appealing for her release, but there's
something about the motives of the kidnapping.
And they're up against public opinion. A new CBS News poll found more than a third of Americans have an unfavorable view of Islam. About the same number think that Islam encourages violence more than other religions. Which could help explain what happened to Mustafa Khalifa last fall. He and a group of Muslim friends were in New Jersey at the Giants game. The crowd was fired up, and in the third quarter, a group of state troopers started inching toward their section.
So I kind of looked at them like, okay, maybe they're just making sure nobody else gets out of hand. A few minutes later, the Meadowlands security comes up and says, okay, you five, come with us. Kind of look at each other.
Khalifa says the security guards then grabbed their arms and ushered them out. No one would tell them what was going on.
Then they start asking, well, what mosques do you attend? How regularly do you go?
Later, FBI agents told Khalifa that they were reacting to a tip, that someone saw the men crouching near an air vent at the stadium. Khalifa says they were on their knees to pray.
We'd prayed in front of people before, and it was never a problem, so we didn't think about it twice. It's something we do every day, 5 times a day, every day, anywhere we are.
I think we handled it right.
George Zoffinger is president of the complex where the Giants play. He says his staff is sensitive to cultural diversity, but caution rules the day.
Anytime that we receive any kind of indication from patrons or from our security staff that they are concerned about something, we make sure we look into it.
After all, the New York City skyline, a constant reminder of 9/11, is in plain view of Giant Stadium. Security is never far from anyone's mind.
In our everyday lives, you and I and everybody else, we are so cognizant of the fact that if you do see something unusual, that you should report it. And I think that has been so ingrained into all of our thought processes.
But does praying qualify as unusual?
One person actually looked me in the eye and said, now I feel safe. I'm like, from what? Just watching a football game?
Many Muslims say they're getting used to it. In one survey of young Muslims, 70% said they noticed significant hostility towards Muslims in the general American public. But not everyone thinks that's bad.
I think there should be a focus on Muslims.
Daniel Pipes is the director of the Middle East Forum and makes no apologies for taking a hard line. Pipes points out all 19 hijackers on September 11th were Muslims. And 4 years later, we're still debating whether protecting the country or protecting civil liberties is more important.
There has to be a balance between the two. It's important to focus in on the real threat. It does no one any good to pretend that the threat is other than what it really is.
And Pipes says the real threat to the U.S. is radical Islamic terrorism.
Are we going to protect ourselves from this or not? The people who are going to do this who will in the future engage in violence against Americans, who carry with them an Islamic or an Islamist ideology, are Muslims. What is the point of looking at Catholics, Baptists, Jews, Hindus? There's no point.
When Timothy McVeigh blew up the federal building in Oklahoma City, we didn't see the FBI or the government coming down on every Catholic in the U.S., asking questions about their hatred for the U.S. or potentially harboring ill feelings toward this country.
Hi, Daddy. Hey, how are you?
Aref Asaf grew up in a Palestinian refugee camp. He came here more than 30 years ago, started a family and a series of successful businesses. Asaf is Muslim American, but he says he hates that label.
In fact, I like to be known as an American because that's what defines me, is that I've made a conscious choice to become an American citizen. And for me, that's 100% of myself that's committed to this country.
Come on, guys.
Which is why Asaf says he couldn't believe it when FBI agents came to his house to ask him if he knew any terrorists. Not once, but 3 times.
The terrorists who committed the crime were not American citizens. So why are we harassing 5 or 6 million Muslims when the root cause lies somewhere else?
He believes Muslims need to take on that kind of scrutiny as a challenge.
9/11 and taking away of our civil rights and the castigation of our community, our culture, our heritage, forced many of us in our community to lead efforts to bring our community and expose its good side and to engage our politicians.
Every other community in the United States have been through this.
To Osama Siblani, it's just the latest twist on a classically American experience. The immigrant struggling to fit in. Siblani publishes the Arab American News in Dearborn, Michigan, a city with the largest proportion of Muslims anywhere in the country.
The Italians, the Jews, Japanese, Germans, every single community, African Americans, every community comes in, they have to go through the torture gate and then tested, and then they become Americans and accepted. And I think we are in this kind of juncture right now, that we are entering into the mainstream. It took us a long time. We are the new guys on the block, and therefore everybody is kicking us around.
You're the new kid.
Yeah, I mean, we are the new kid, and we're being tested.
It's a test with no easy answers. And Azar Usman will be the first to tell you, if you're the new kid, having a sense of humor can't hurt.
I'm just waiting for a real honest passenger at the end of the flight, you know, like, excuse me, sir. Thought you were gonna kill us.
I had a restaurant.
Start with the brain.
Well, you never know what's on the menu.
It's unbelievably creamy. I had no idea.